Most people think confidence comes from success, from approval, from evidence that they are worthy. They are wrong. Confidence built on external validation is a house of cards, toppled by the first wind of criticism. The prince derives his confidence from within, from a place that cannot be reached by praise or destroyed by blame. He does not need to be told he is capable. He knows it. He does not need to be reassured. He is certain. His confidence is not a reaction to the world. It is a declaration to it. This is dark confidence, self-belief that requires no witness, no evidence, no permission.
The first law of dark confidence is the law of the unborrowed worth. Your worth is not a loan from others. It is not theirs to give or take. The dependent man borrows his sense of value from those around him, constantly seeking repayment in the form of approval. The prince minted his own value in the forge of his will and stamped it with his own face. He does not ask for validation because he does not recognize the authority of those who would grant it. His worth is his own, and he will not let others appraise it. The unborrowed worth is the only worth that cannot be repossessed.
The second law is the law of the unfelt rejection. Rejection is not a verdict. It is a mismatch. The dependent man feels every no as a wound, every closed door as a judgment. The prince hears rejection as information, not as identity. He understands that a single person's refusal does not diminish his value any more than a stranger's ignorance of his name makes him nameless. He feels the sting, perhaps, but he does not bleed. His confidence is not dependent on universal acceptance. The unfelt rejection is the rejection that cannot stop him. The third law is the law of the unreadable doubt. Doubt is inevitable. Showing it is optional. The prince has doubts, as all thinking beings do, but he has learned to keep them invisible. He does not confess his uncertainties, does not seek reassurance, does not betray his hesitation. His face is a wall. His voice is steady. Those who look for cracks find only stone. The unreadable doubt is the doubt that cannot be exploited. And the man who hides his uncertainty appears certain, even when he is not.
The fourth law is the law of the unforgotten competence. Memory is the anchor of dark confidence. The prince remembers every obstacle he has overcome, every fear he has faced, every challenge he has mastered. He does not dwell on failures, but he does not forget his victories either. His past is not a graveyard of regrets. It is an arsenal of proof. When doubt arises, he consults this archive. He knows that he has survived everything that has come before, and that knowledge is the foundation of his certainty about what will come next. The fifth law is the law of the unshared struggle. Confidence is not weakened by vulnerability. It is weakened by displaying vulnerability to those who would use it. The prince does not share his struggles with those who have not earned the right to know them. He fights his battles in silence, in darkness, alone. Those who see him only after the victory assume the victory was easy. He does not correct them. His unseen struggle is the source of his unshakable confidence, and he guards it as a miser guards gold. The sixth law is the law of the unanswered criticism. Critics will come. They will point out flaws, real or imagined. The dependent man defends, explains, justifies, exhausting himself against their arguments. The prince does not answer criticism. He hears it, weighs it, and if it has value, he uses it in silence. If it does not, he discards it without acknowledgement. His silence is not weakness. It is the refusal to grant the critic the dignity of a response. The unanswered criticism is the criticism that dies of neglect. The seventh law is the law of the unfinished confidence. You will never be finished building dark confidence. New challenges will arise, new doubts will surface, new critics will appear. The prince does not expect to arrive at a destination where he is forever certain. He knows that confidence is a practice, not a state. Each day, he reaffirms his worth. Each day, he ignores the voices that would diminish him. The work never ends, and neither does his power. The unfinished confidence is the only confidence that can grow.
The eighth law is the law of the unseen preparation. Dark confidence is not magic, it is mathematics. The prince prepares relentlessly, studies obsessively, rehearses tirelessly. When the moment of judgment arrives, he is not hoping to succeed. He knows he has already done the work. His confidence is not faith. It is the arithmetic of preparedness. Those who see only his calm do not see the years of sweat that preceded it. The unseen preparation is the foundation of visible confidence, and those who skip the work will never understand the result.
The ninth law is the law of the unfelt comparison. Comparison is the thief of confidence. The dependent man measures himself against others, always finding himself lacking. The prince compares himself only to his past self. He asks not whether he is better than them, but whether he is better than he was. His trajectory is his only benchmark. The successes of others do not diminish his own. There is no fixed amount of greatness in the universe. The unfelt comparison is the comparison that cannot poison, and the man who runs his own race never loses to another's pace.
The 10th law is the law of the unshaken core. At the center of dark confidence is a core that cannot be moved. The prince has identified the beliefs, values, and truths that are non-negotiable. No argument can shift them, no failure can disprove them, no person can alter them. This core is small, a few stones, not a mountain, but it is unbreakable. Everything else is negotiable, adaptable, flexible, but the core remains. And as long as the core stands, his confidence stands with it.
The 11th law is the law of the unreadable face. Confidence leaks through expression. The dependent man wears his insecurity on his sleeve, in his fidgeting, his averted eyes, his too-quick smile. The prince has disciplined his face to reveal nothing. He does not smile to please, does not frown to warn, does not flinch to concede. His face is a tool, not a tell. Those who try to read him find only what he allows them to find. The unreadable face is the first victory of dark confidence, won before a word is spoken. The 12th law is the law of the unforced presence. The dependent man enters a room hoping to be noticed. The prince enters a room expecting to be noticed, not because he is arrogant, but because his presence is undeniable. He does not demand attention. He occupies space with such quiet authority that attention flows to him naturally. His stillness is louder than their noise. He does not perform confidence. He is confidence. The unforced presence is the presence that cannot be ignored, and the man who does not need attention receives it most freely. The 13th law is the law of the unforgotten scale. Most fears are small when measured against what you have already survived. The prince keeps a mental map of his own history, marked with the locations of his greatest trials. When a new fear arises, he measures it against the largest marker. It is almost always smaller. He has faced worse. He has endured greater. He has survived what he once thought would kill him. This scale is his compass, and it always points to the same truth. He has been tested and has not broken. The unforgotten scale is the scale that shrinks every new fear to its proper size.
The 14th law is the law of the unbroken posture. Posture is not merely physical, it is psychological. The dependent man hunches, shrinks, makes himself small. The prince expands. He occupies space, not aggressively, but completely. His shoulders are back, his chin is level, his chest is open. This posture is not a performance, it is a practice. Over time, it becomes second nature, and second nature becomes truth. The unbroken posture is the posture that convinces the world, and more importantly, convinces the self, that the person within is not to be dismissed. The 15th law is the law of the unapologetic no. The dependent man fears refusal because he fears rejection. He says yes when he means no, then resents himself for his weakness. The prince says no without apology, without explanation, without guilt. His no is not a negotiation. It is a boundary. He does not need to justify his refusal because his reasons are his own. Those who cannot accept his no are not his concern. The unapologetic no is the no that teaches others to respect the one who speaks it. The 16th law is the law of the unread rejection. Rejection, when it comes, is data. The prince does not internalize it, he analyzes it. He asks, was I wrong, or were they? Was the fit poor, or was their judgment flawed? He does not assume that rejection proves inadequacy. Sometimes the door closed because it was the wrong door. Sometimes the person turned away because they could not see what stood before them. The unread rejection is the rejection that becomes information rather than injury. And the man who reads it dispassionately learns more than the man who feels it deeply. The 17th law is the law of the unfinished confidence. Dark confidence is never complete. New challenges will arise, new doubts will surface, new critics will appear. The prince does not expect to arrive at a destination where he is forever certain. He knows that confidence is a practice, not a state. Each day, he reaffirms his worth. Each day, he ignores the voices that would diminish him. The work never ends, and neither does his power. The unfinished confidence is the only confidence that can grow. The 18th law is the law of the unshared victory. The dependent man needs witnesses to his success. He needs applause, recognition, celebration. The prince celebrates alone, in silence, in the satisfaction of a job well done. His victory does not require an audience to be real. He does not need others to know what he has accomplished. He knows, and that is enough. The unshared victory is the victory that cannot be diminished by poor audience reception. And the man who needs no applause is never disappointed by its absence. The 19th law is the law of the unrecorded evidence. The prince does not keep a scrapbook of his accomplishments. He does not display his trophies, does not rehearse his victories, does not seek reminders of his worth. His confidence is not dependent on memory. It is built into his very cells. He does not need to remember his past successes to believe in his future ones. The evidence is not recorded because it does not need to be recorded. His certainty is not archival. It is existential. The 20th law is the law of the unbreakable calm. Panic is a choice, though most do not know it. The prince has trained himself to respond to crisis with stillness. When others rush, he waits. When others scream, he observes. When others collapse, he calculates. His calm is not absence of emotion, it is mastery of it. He feels the urgency, the fear, the pressure,
but he does not let them command him. The unbreakable calm is the calm that sees clearly, while others see only chaos. The world will call you arrogant, cold, unfeeling. Let them talk. They are the same ones who crumble under the first whisper of criticism, who need constant reassurance, who depend on others to tell them they matter. Dark confidence is not arrogance. It is the absence of the need for approval. It is not coldness. It is the refusal to be warmed by unreliable flames. You have built a fortress within yourself, and you sit at its center, untouched by the opinions of those who cannot enter. Now go. Do not ask permission. Do not seek validation. Do not explain yourself. Be the prince.
The 21st law is the law of the unfinished ascent. Dark confidence is not a peak you reach. It is a climbing that never ends. The prince does not rest on his confidence, does not assume he has arrived. He knows that comfort is the enemy of growth. He seeks challenges that test his certainty, situations that might shake him, not to break himself, but to strengthen himself. The fire that does not kill him leaves him harder, and he seeks the fire deliberately. The unfinished ascent is the ascent that prevents the atrophy of confidence. Rest is rust.
The 22nd law is the law of the unspoken standard. The prince does not measure himself against the world's yardstick. He has his own standard, forged from his own values, his own goals, his own definition of excellence. He does not need to be the best in any room. He needs only to be true to his own measure. When others judge him by their standards, he does not feel the sting. Their ruler does not apply to his territory. He has his own compass, and it points him true. The unspoken standard is the standard that cannot be used against him because he never agreed to it in the first place.
The 23rd law is the law of the unfelt envy. Envy is the acknowledgement that someone else possesses what you lack, and it corrodes confidence from within. The prince does not envy. He does not covet another's success, another's gifts, another's fortune. He knows that envy is a waste of energy that could be spent on building his own empire. When he sees greatness in others, he does not diminish himself. He learns from them. The unfelt envy is the envy that never steals his peace. And the man who does not compare does not despair. The 24th law is the law of the unreadable disappointment. Disappointment is inevitable. Showing it is optional. The prince experiences disappointment like any other human, but he has trained his face to reveal nothing. He does not sigh, does not slump, does not complain. When a plan fails, he notes the outcome, adjusts his course, and continues without mourning. His enemies watch for the crack in his composure, the moment of weakness, the evidence that he is shaken. They see nothing. The unreadable disappointment is the disappointment that cannot be weaponized. The 25th law is the law of the unforced authority. Some men demand respect. Others command it without a word. The prince has learned that the most powerful authority is the one that is never claimed. He does not announce his rank, does not remind others of his position, does not posture. His presence does the work. When he speaks, others listen, not because he asked them to, but because his words carry weight. The unforced authority is the authority that requires no enforcement, because it is simply felt. And the man who does not need to assert his power never needs to defend it. The 26th law is the law of the unforgotten root. Confidence is not a balloon that floats away without anchor. It is a tree that must be rooted in something real. The prince knows what grounds him: his skills, his knowledge, his past victories, his core values. When doubt assails him, he returns to these roots. He doesn't try to conjure confidence from nothing.
He draws it from the deep well of his own history. The unforgotten root is the root that holds firm when the winds of criticism howl, and the man who knows his foundations cannot be toppled.
The 27th law is the law of the unhurried response. Urgency is a weapon used by those who want to force you into error. The prince does not rush. When challenged, when questioned, when pressured, he pauses. He lets the silence stretch, lets the other party grow uncomfortable, lets his own thoughts settle. His unhurried response is not hesitation, it is calculation. He speaks when he is ready, not when they demand. The unhurried response is the response that cannot be trapped, and the man who controls his timing controls the exchange.
The 28th law is the law of the unmasked fear. To build dark confidence, you must first face your own fear, not to eliminate it, but to know its shape. The prince has spent time in solitude, examining his anxieties, tracing them to their sources. He knows what frightens him, and because he knows, he is not ruled by the unknown. Fear, once named and examined, loses much of its power. The unmasked fear is the fear that can be prepared for, and the man who has looked into his own darkness is not easily startled by shadows. The 29th law is the law of the unshared triumph. The dependent man needs witnesses to his success. He needs applause, recognition, celebration. The prince celebrates alone, in silence, in the satisfaction of a job well done. His victory does not require an audience to be real. He does not need others to know what he has accomplished. He knows, and that is enough. The unshared triumph is the triumph that cannot be diminished by poor audience reception. And the man who needs no applause is never disappointed by its absence. The 30th law is the law of the unfinished transformation. Dark confidence is never complete. New challenges will arise. New fears will surface. New critics will appear. The prince does not expect to reach a final state of unshakable certainty. He knows that confidence is a practice, not a destination. Each day, he reaffirms his worth. Each day, he ignores the voices that would diminish him. The work never ends, and neither does his power. The unfinished transformation is the only transformation that can adapt to a changing world.
The 31st law is the law of the unreadable outcome. The prince does not stake his confidence on the success of any single endeavor. He knows that outcomes are uncertain, that forces beyond his control can derail even the best laid plans. His confidence is not in the result. It is in his ability to respond to any result. Win or lose, he will adapt. Succeed or fail, he will continue. The unreadable outcome is the outcome that cannot shake him, because his certainty is in his process, not his prizes. The 32nd law is the law of the unforgotten imperfection. Perfection is a myth that destroys confidence. The dependent man fears mistakes because he believes they define him. The prince knows that imperfection is the human condition, and he has made peace with his flaws. He does not deny them, he does not hide them. He simply accepts them as part of his landscape. His confidence is not undermined by his weaknesses, because he does not expect to be flawless. The unforgotten imperfection is the imperfection that cannot surprise him, and the man who knows his limitations is not broken by encountering them. The 33rd law is the law of the unbroken stillness. When the world rushes, the prince stands still. He has learned that movement is often panic in disguise, that action for its own sake is wasted energy. He does not need to respond to every provocation, to every demand, to every opportunity that flashes before him.
His stillness is not passivity, it is selection. He moves only when movement serves. The unbroken stillness is the stillness that conserves power for the moments that truly matter. And the man who does not dance to every tune is never exhausted by useless steps.
Disappointment is inevitable. Showing it is optional. The prince experiences disappointment like any other human, but he has trained his face to reveal nothing. He does not sigh, does not slump, does not complain. When a plan fails, he notes the outcome, adjusts his course, and continues without mourning. His enemies watch for the crack in his composure, the moment of weakness, the evidence that he is shaken. They see nothing. The unreadable disappointment is the disappointment that cannot be weaponized.
Failure is inevitable. Broadcasting it is optional.
The prince does not hide his failures from himself, but he does not announce them to the world. He does not seek sympathy, does not perform contrition, does not use failure as a bid for attention. When he falls, he rises quietly, examines the wound, and continues. The world does not need to know his struggles. It will see only his victories, and it will never know the cost. The unseen failure is the failure that cannot be used against him. And the man who suffers in silence is never pitied, and also never underestimated.
Hope is a double-edged sword. It can lift or it can wound, depending on its object. The prince does not pin his hopes on outcomes he cannot control. He hopes not for a specific result, but for his own capacity to respond. He does not pray to fortune. He trusts his preparation. His hope is not in the external. It is in the internal. The unreadable hope is the hope that cannot be dashed by failure. And the man who hopes in himself alone is never disappointed by the world.
In moments of greatest pressure, the body betrays the mind. The dependent man forgets to breathe. His chest tightens, his words shorten, his panic becomes visible. The prince has learned to return to his breath. In the face of challenge, he breathes slowly, deeply, deliberately. His breath is his anchor, his rhythm, his reminder that he is still alive, still present, still in control. The unforgotten breath is the breath that steadies the hand and clears the eye. And the man who controls his breath controls his fear.
The world will tell you that wanting too much is greedy, that striving too hard is desperate, that reaching too high is hubris. The prince has heard these warnings and dismissed them. He does not apologize for his ambition. He does not soften his goals to make others comfortable. He wants what he wants, and he will not shrink his desires to fit their expectations. The unapologetic ambition is the ambition that cannot be shamed. And the man who refuses to apologize for his hunger is never underfed.
Gratitude is often demanded, performed, weaponized. The prince is grateful, but his gratitude is his own, not a performance for others. He does not thank those who have not earned his thanks. He does not perform humility to win approval. His gratitude flows from genuine recognition of genuine value, not from social obligation. The unforced gratitude is the gratitude that cannot be manipulated, and the man who does not perform appreciation is never trapped by false debts. Everyone plays roles: parent, worker, friend, leader. The dependent man becomes his role, confusing the mask with the face. The prince knows that his roles are costumes, not identity. He can wear the mask of authority, then set it aside. He can play the servant, then walk away unchanged.
His confidence is not tied to any role, because his core is not in the costume. The unreadable role is the role that cannot trap him, and the man who knows he is acting cannot be typecast.
The prince has learned to be comfortable in silence. Not the silence of others, but the silence within himself. He does not need constant noise, constant validation, constant distraction. He can sit alone with his thoughts, with his doubts, with his fears, and not be consumed. His internal silence is his sanctuary, the place where he retreats to recharge, to reflect, to remember who he is. The unshared silence is the silence that cannot be invaded, and the man who is comfortable alone is never desperate for company.
Dark confidence is not a destination. It is a direction. The prince does not seek a final state of unshakable certainty, because he knows that certainty without adaptation is rigidity. He is always learning, always testing, always refining. His confidence is not in his current perfection, but in his capacity to grow. The unfinished journey is the journey that never ends. And the man who still walks is the man who has not fallen.
Indecision is the enemy of confidence. The prince does not dither. He gathers information, weighs options, and decides. Not because he is certain of the outcome, but because he is certain of his ability to handle any outcome. He knows that a wrong decision is often better than no decision, because a wrong decision provides data, while indecision provides only stagnation. The unforced decision is the decision that moves the game forward, and the man who decides quickly learns faster than the man who waits for certainty.
Mortality is the ultimate test of confidence. The dependent man avoids the thought of death, fills his life with distractions, pretends he will live forever. The prince has looked into the abyss and made peace with what he saw. He knows that his time is limited, and that knowledge does not paralyze him. It liberates him. He does not waste his days on the approval of others, because those days are numbered. The unforgotten death is the death that makes every moment precious. And the man who remembers his mortality does not squander his life on petty fears. The world will call you arrogant, cold, unfeeling. Let them talk. They are the same ones who crumble under the first whisper of criticism, who need constant reassurance, who depend on others to tell them they matter. Dark confidence is not arrogance. It is the absence of the need for approval. It is not coldness. It is the refusal to be warmed by unreliable flames. You have built a fortress within yourself, and you sit at its center, untouched by the opinions of those who cannot enter. Now go. Do not ask permission. Do not seek validation. Do not explain yourself. Be the prince. Build the fortress within. Let the world storm its walls. You will not fall.